Hello and welcome to Cliff Alert.
Today we will be discussing Season 6, Episode 6 of Ready to Love, and our focus today will be on Tory.
Yeah, we need to focus on that brother today. The episode began with a meeting in the men's lounge with all the guys, and Nephew Tommy tasked the fellas with an assignment. Take out your second option. The person that you're maybe not initially attracted to, or it's not necessarily your first choice, but your second choice or your second option or your backup plan. What becomes evident right off the top is that, according to his own words, Tory doesn't have one.
And that puts him in a perilous position in the show, because if he does not have a backup plan, he's going to be eliminated. And his whole focus has always been on Sabrina.
Right.
And he has done so intentionally, and it's going to be at his peril.
Yeah, that brother actually admitted in one of his confessionals that his relationship, or he felt like his relationship and or rapport with Sabrina was on shaky, was a little shaky. Well, from my vantage point, it was a whole lot more than little shaky. It was on no ground whatsoever.
Let's just say if Sabrina is driving the car, he is in the back seat. Sabrina's focus has always been Demetrius, and now we have a new passenger on board, that is Donovan. So Tory had no chance with Sabrina at all, and she tried basically to tell him that when they had their dinner together.
Yeah, so as his fallback, as part of his fallback plan, he rolls out with Precious. And they meet, and they initially start having drinks, so forth and so on.
Precious started in about what kind of friendship they will have, and she actually said to him that they possibly be sexual friends.
And lovers too.
And lovers too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure how far she thinks that's gonna get her if her whole task is focusing on trying to find the right person to build a life with. But Precious is where Precious is, and I know she will get to a better place. You don't want to be available for a man to just use you for one place. Sit with yourself and understand that if I want to get the right man, I gotta behave differently. So if you have been behaving this way, and Mr. Right has not come along, that means I need to step back and turn the other way, because your behavior is not bringing the thing that you said you want.
Yeah, I think that's on point, and I also think that in terms of Tory's role in that, I think that he didn't do himself any favors, and didn't represent himself very well at all on that particular date.
No, any man who's, I think Tory is what, 42, 44?
No, I think he's 39.
39 years old, is going on television talking about hitting someone's kidney. Little gnarly to begin with, that a man will say that in public, because that tells whoever hears it that you don't know the anatomy of a woman and where our kidneys are. And secondly, you're just interested in just smashing, and that's not a good look.
Yeah, he just needed to leave all of the sexually explicit innuendo remarks off to the side somewhere. You know, even if you're thinking it, you don't have to say that. Yeah, I just think that he for lack of a better expression, put his foot in his mouth, and he didn't stop at putting his foot in his mouth with some of the remarks that came behind that. You know, so he, in essence, he worked his way up from his foot to his ankle to his shin to his kneecap, in terms of what he was doing in his commentary to and or with Precious on that date.
And this is the difference. I am positive that at least the cameras have not shown us him talking to Sabrina like that.
Right, exactly.
We talked to Precious. He spoke with Joy about the kidney. He spoke with Precious about the kidney, but we didn't see him rolling up to Sabrina and talking that foolishness.
And he actually took pride in saying
Yes,
that.
he
Which
got
was,
that from someone. Just attach that to his conversation. That's no conversation to have. When we were introduced to Tory initially, when he and Precious had hooked up, they talked about their mothers. They connected on that level. So there is some depth there that this brother is now just going surface with Precious. And again, that's because of how she represented herself in front of these men.
in part, but in part, I agree with you 100%. But that, I say in part because, Tory, from my vantage point, ought to know better.
Yes.
So even if that's how she's coming off, with the sexual innuendos and that kind of thing, you don't have to follow up with some of your own to make the situation even more awkward than it already is.
Because anyone talking about a kidney situation regarding a sexual act is not coming off in a good light at all.
Then if that weren't enough, he makes the situation worse. He says to Precious in the course of the day, "Can we have an honest conversation? Can we have a real conversation?"
Yes.
And then she follows up by saying, "Well, what is it that you want to know about me? What is it that?" And she says that in response to a question that he asked. He asked, "What makes Precious tick?" She says, "Well, I don't know. Why do you ask? Do you want to do?
So you can do it,
right? Do you want to do that to me or something like that?"
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, even though that wasn't the thing to say on her behalf, he responds by saying yes, no, maybe, something like that.
Some nonsense, some foolishness. He's not. What I find alarming is that he's not gonna have a conversation with Sabrina like the conversation he had with Precious. So in my mind, he is disregarding Precious as a woman and as a human being to have a conversation with her. And then she asks him a question, and it's edited to look like he was ordering a second shot. And then he gave her that sloppy kiss, and he put his finger in his mouth. That was repulsive. I don't know about you, but nothing about that interaction was appealing at all.
Yeah, I think she was kind of caught off guard by that and thought it was inappropriate based on where she was, how she was feeling about not only the date but also the rapport relationship that she has with him. She at that point, I think, had checked out.
Well, they both had checked out, but I just think that Tory was off the chain disrespectful to Precious. And mind you, she was sort of responding to how she presented herself. But as a man, you always gotta give a woman grace.
Then in his first confessional, or one of his initial confessionals about that particular date, he says, well, he thinks that there's some sexual energy between them, but he actually wants to find out if there's any compatibility. What?
I'm not sure Tory knows what Tory wants. I'm not sure. He wants someone that he's not gonna get.
For
yes,
sure. For
absolutely.
sure. But it was just a bad to worse situation for him as the date went on, and as I watched, I was just shaking my head, and I had to rewind press the rewind button on the remote just to see if I actually heard what I actually heard from him.
And one of the things that struck me as telling is that he, in his confessionals, he looked at the camera and said, a man should check for a woman who's feeling him. And if not, he should walk away. And I'm saying, wow.
He didn't get his own memo, did he? He damn sure didn't get it. Right.
No self-awareness. What? at all. Don't know how to read the room. Particularly don't know how to read Sabrina, because Sabrina is off to the races and she got a new thing. She got Donovan on the hook, and T- Tory doesn't have a chance.
Yeah, and even in his after in his confessional after the second men's lounge meeting to decide who was up for possible elimination, Tory admitted that you know, he was only focused on Sabrina and not really even focusing anymore on Precious. And I'm just like, you were never really focusing on anybody else but Sabrina when you went on a date with Precious.
Yeah, Tory needs to leave that stuff alone
Yeah, for sure.
And read the room.
For sure.
His time has come.
For sure. For sure. And I don't know about you guys or you, but in that second confessional, where the one where he was wearing the black coat, that brother looked like he had been hitting a choker smoker. For sure.
Well, we don't.
For sure.
We don't know that.
Y'all tell me I'm wrong, but that brother looked like he was blazed, boy. I ain't lying.
Maybe you was sleepy or tired.
Or as high as gas prices.
That's all we're gonna say about that.
It is legal in the DMV.
It is.
All right, I'm just checking. He looked like he was. All right, never. Forget it. Forget it. That's enough.
That's enough about that.
All right. Anyway. But long story short, Tory did not do him nor his representative any favors whatsoever in terms of how he repped himself to not only the audience but also to the members of the cast that he was dating, Precious and or Sabrina.
And Tory, because I know that you understand this, there are behaviors that attract a woman and keeps her with you, and you're not exhibiting those behaviors at all. Right. So you need to take a breath or two and understand that, because you're a good brother and there's a woman out there for you, but you can't use women as tools. No. At 39, that's a non-starter. That should be a non-starter for you. So I would encourage you to open yourself up to be a little more respectful of women and who they are and what they are to you, and how you would like to leave them after you've encountered them.
Yeah, man. Pull it back from that cliff edge, because you was real close and on that edge right then and there throughout the course of this episode, for sure.
You don't want to look behind you and just see damage and destruction you have unleashed in a woman's life. That if you have done that, it's time to get an awareness of that and change that up, because there's a whole lot of blessing that you can do going forward. And I really hope you understand that.
Yeah, come on, Tory, man. If you know better, do better.
Please subscribe, like, share, comment, and please make your comments respectful. We don't have time for foolishness, and we will see you at the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye.